Hi, I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on Newsfeed today. The uprising continues in Sudan. We look at women's role in the revolution.
We must fight together now, or die.
Game of Thrones begins this weekend, and spoiler alert, we'll look at why people write spoilers. Social media fights back when it comes to Instagrammers ruining nature. And this animal doing stuff is really doing the Lord's work. And at the top of our newsfeed, the Sudan uprising. Now, people remain on the streets of the capital, Khartoum, fighting for a change of leadership. And women have played a leading role in what has happened so far. Take a look.
With the women's role in Sudan, they have been known to be leaders in any movement and change, organizers. They're the ones who take to the streets and fight for change. And, we've seen in the 1985 protests, you can see very similar images of women wearing the same garment, walking the streets and I've heard stories from my mother and my grandmother and my aunts about how powerful women were in the past and how they still play a role now. And the first female parliamentary member in Africa was actually a Sudanese woman. So there's a lot of political and civic involvement that comes from women, and seeing it in front of us just gives me a lot of hope about the possibility of it continuing in the future too.
من ديسمبر قاعدة بتقول إزالة النظام دي مسرحية ما في إزالة للنظام ده إعادة إنتاج للنظام وما مقبول بالنسبة لنا إحنا في الشارع حنظل قاعدين ولحد ما النظام ده يتغير بكل رموزه بشير على ابن عوف على غيره نحن دايرين زول تسقط تاني اصل غير كده ما دايرين.
ما ممكن انه الحكومه تمارس كل الضغوطات اللي مارستها علينا وتظل لسه متشبثه بكرسي السلطه. ابن عوف وعمر البشير وجهان لعمله واحده، فنحن بنرى نحن كشباب وكمواطنين شايفين اللي بيحصل ده عباره عن لعب من الحكومه بينا.
I'm very hopeful that there will be actual change in the legal frameworks of Sudan to allow women to take active participation like they used to in the past. Like when Sudan used to flourish, it was when women were active members of society. So I think in order to see that progressive change and that revival of women's rights, it has to start from a complete restructuring of the framework that exists in Sudan. I can actually speak directly to my mother's advice. My mother, I get my activism from her and I get my fight from her. And I think that kind of goes directly from a lot of Sudanese diaspora folk and also Sudanese folk say their mothers and their aunts and their grandmothers are the ones who are pushing them for this change. My mom in particular tells me don't be quiet, don't be silent, but also just be smart and empathetic the whole time. And I think that really plays a crucial role in sustainable change, is being a little bit empathetic and being understanding, and women embody that to a T.
All right, let's have a look at some of the other things that have caught our eye on social media. Now, Ilhan Omar is under fire thanks to this headline in the New York Post. The Congresswoman was giving a speech a few days ago talking about Islamophobia in the context of terror attacks. She talked of the 9/11 attacks and said that the Council of American Islamic Relations was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose our access to civil liberties. Now, that quote has been taken entirely out of context in the headline, as you saw, as many people on the right in America just can't handle the fact that a Muslim woman is in Congress speaking truth to power. The Indian courts are trying to get 2 music videos by PewDiePie removed from YouTube. The songs apparently contain lyrics which are abusive, vulgar and racist in nature. That's according to court papers which are posted online. Now, PewDiePie's real name is Felix Schellberg, and he has the top-rated YouTube channel in terms of subscribers in the world. He beat an Indian channel called T-Series. Now, the music vids are diss tracks about T-Series. PewDiePie has been co-opted and celebrated by white supremacists. He himself says he's not a racist.
Homer Simpson here, proud addition to the Disney family and soon appearing on Disney+. I, for one, salute our new corporate overlords.
And Disney Plus will launch in the US in November and will be yet another subscription service for you to spend on. This one will have every season of The Simpsons, yay, and also a Star Wars series based around the characters from Rogue One called The Mandalorian, which I am very excited about.
If you're really doing this, I want to help.
The world is coming undone. Imperial flags.
And we've been singing the theme Better Than That all day because Game of Thrones restarts this weekend. And I have to be honest, I'm not as excited as most of the internet. I just hope it's better than last season. Here's Ezra.
Winter is coming, this time in spring, as the world's biggest television show returns to our screens and feeds. More than 10 million people go to HBO for every episode, with millions more watching illegally online. Last season's premiere generated 2.4 million tweets while the show was on air. Each episode in its 8th and final season will reportedly cost more than $15 million. So you can imagine the show that made its name by taking everyone by surprise is protective of its plot twists.
Bring me his head.
Especially after a 2017 hack that saw scripts from the 7th season leaked, revealing every theme, twist, and most importantly, death. The show's creators only give its stars digital screenplays that vanish once they've been read. On set, the crew have deployed drone killers. These are devices that can disable airborne drones and force them to land. Scenes have been shot close to Belfast Airport, a no-fly zone, all in an effort to keep these battle scenes under wraps. The movie industry loses $30 billion to piracy a year, which involves scripts and films appearing online. Disney prints its Star Wars scripts on red paper, impossible to photocopy.
Turn your weapons to the Capitol.
And the Hunger Games produced unique scripts with changed words so they can trace where a potential leak might come from. Executive producers even worry about actors dropping spoilers on the extensive press tours.
Not that I've done more than one.
Avengers actor Tom Holland reportedly was given a script full of fake scenes due to his apparent propensity to give away the plot. He wasn't even told which character he was fighting while filming CGI scenes. The fear of spoilers could literally change the scenes we know and love. Game of Thrones is believed to be a dying breed, as studios focus more on shorter content that can be binged before someone spoils the ending.
I look forward to seeing this one.
And next, you can't have failed to notice the last time you took a walk anywhere beautiful, a bunch of people staring at their phones taking pictures, all for social media. Well, these monsters have been ruining the great outdoors for too long, and thankfully, and ironically, social media is fighting back. Let's go around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Friday. A man has been arrested in the United States in connection with a series of fires at black churches. This is him. His name is Holden Matthews, and his dad is a local sheriff. He was taken into custody in connection with 3 fires at churches in Louisiana. No one was hurt in the fires. Now, the burning of black churches has been a technique used by white supremacist terrorists throughout the history of modern America. Alexa, are you listening? Yes, I am, Kamali. Turns out Alexa, Siri and all them AI assistants are listening, and not just for you to ask them to play Happy by Pharrell. There are thousands of people employed by Amazon et al. To listen and transcribe our requests to the smart speakers and then feed the data into the algorithm so they work better. According to some excellent reporting from Bloomberg, these devices are always listening and often pick up things they should not. The companies say none of the data is stored long term, and if you believe that, I have some magic beans to sell you. Now, this guy, Danilo Gentili, says he's a comedian and he's been sentenced to 6 months in prison in Brazil for jokes. He made a video which a judge said was abusive to a politician. The politician he joked about is the same woman the now president of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro, said was not attractive enough to rape. Her name is Maria do Rosario. After the sentence, Brazil's president sent messages of support to Gentili. Julian Assange is in British custody, awaiting extradition to the United States, charged with publishing on WikiLeaks details of the way the US military kills and maims and tortures people. He'd been hiding in the Ecuadorian embassy in London for 7 years. Now, a few years ago, he got a cat, and now the internet are as concerned about the feline as they are about the human. The feline was called James and was reportedly given to an animal shelter years ago. And this picture of a turtle laying her eggs on the tarmac of a new runway is a stark illustration of man's destruction of nature. This was taken in the Maldives, where a new airstrip had been laid where the turtle would normally have laid her eggs. And last up, in Animals Doing Stuff, we have a parrot who is no great fan of old Blue Eyes, but pretty au fait with modern technology. It's learned how to operate Alexa.
Alexa, stop!
Let go. I like that song. Alexa, Alexa, play New York, New York.
Theme from New York, New York, by Frank Sinatra.
Alexa, stop!
You stinker.
That's a clever birdie. Well, that's all from the Newsfeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. I'm at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube, and be sure to subscribe to our channel. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Follow, subscribe and add. See you again very soon.